have basically 4 sections: AWA, that's your essay writing section, the quant section, that's your math verbal section, and an integrated reasoning section, which is nothing but like your data interpretation, graphs and charts. So on the screen, I've mentioned the amount of time that's required per section, how many questions are there, and what score you get. So basically, we are looking at a 3 to 3 hour, 15 minutes is how long the exam will last, and your score will be between 200 to 800. Ideally, you want a 700 plus to target the top universities in the world. Couple of things is there is no negative marking in the exam. So if you don't know, just randomly tick and move on. The questions are adaptive. So if you answer a question correctly, the next question becomes more difficult. If you answer it incorrectly, the next question might turn out to be easy. So, it is important that the first 10 questions of the section will make or break you. So what happens is the computer is trying to judge whether how clever you are or how dumb you are. So if you start answering the questions correctly, the first 10 questions, if you answer correctly, the computer starts putting you are a 500, you are a 600, you are a 650, you are a 700. And then if you start getting difficult questions and you answer them wrong, it will try to bring you down. Okay, you're not able to answer the 700 questions. Okay, let me bring you to 680. Let me bring you down again. You cannot go back to the previous question. And once the section is completed, the other sections will start. Now you have the option of choosing what sections you want to give upfront. So some people are okay, I don't like essay writing, I want to do essay writing towards the end. Or some people say, quants is my strength, I want to start the exam on a bang and start with math. So you can decide the order in which you want to give the exam. Your exam starts with an AWA, that's an analytical writing assessment. The essay writing is important because the admission committee wants to judge 2 things. One, how well is your thought process? Can you think logically and convince the other person? And second, when you are applying to colleges, you will be writing essays, a statement of purpose. If your AWA is pathetic and your SOP or your essays are excellent, the admission committee might think that the essays were not written by you. So AWA actually plays a crucial role. Even if you get an average score, I'm not saying get a 5.56, I don't care. As long as you get an average score also, that's fine. I want a 50 percentile bare minimum. You will see a topic and you will have 30 minutes to write an essay on the topic. This is nothing but your data interpretation. You might have a graph, you can have a table, you could have a pie chart, you could have a bar graph, or you could have a mixture of graphs. So something like this, right? The first one is a table analysis. Second one is a graphical interpretation where you have 2 graphs, So in multi-source reasoning, there will be an article 1, there will be an article 2, or multiple articles basically, where you read them and try to figure out what the correlation is and is there, the reasoning making sense or not. You can also have a 2-part analysis between company A, company B, what you have, and multi-source reasoning. Now we have about 36 questions and 65 minutes, on an average about 1.5 to 2 minutes per question. So you will spend more time in reading comprehension and usually less time in sentence correction. So the time that you save in sentence correction goes on to your reading comprehension. Your critical reasoning is nothing but a mini version of a reading comprehension where you have only one passage, a very small passage, 4-5 line passage, and one question only. In RC, for every passage, you will have 3-4 questions, your one passage and one question. We need to now focus on grammar. So all these things will come into play, and obviously the spelling errors that you might see. They will not check your spelling errors in terms of UK versus the US English. So that should not be a concern. That is not the type of spellings that they are looking at. an example is in front of you and the underlined part to be changed. How do we tackle it? Okay, so the first keyword over here is types. Now, do you have types of tissue or your types of tissues? Now, because there is a plural over here, tissue will be singular. So because it is types, it has to be a tissue over here, which means I will eliminate option number C. Okay, if this is singular, the second one has to be plural, right? So it has to be makes and not make. So that means I'm going to eliminate make. So that means E is gone. The third part now over here is the word which. When do we use a word like a which or a that? Okay, when we are actually going out of context. Right now we are talking of the tissue only and we are not going out of context. So the sentence does not need a which or a that. It can continue without unnecessarily expanding or complicating the sentence. If I remove the word which, the sentence still makes sense, then I think that which is an extra word which can be eliminated, number one. The second clue over here is there is a comma over here and then you have something over here in but. If I eliminate this part, that means the first part of a sentence should be grammatically correct on its own, right? The capacity of the embryonic cells to develop most type of tissues which make them valuable for application. Now, if I say which make them valuable for application, it is not a grammatically correct sentence of its own because a sentence should have an action, verb, subject, everything. I hope you guys know your Renan Martin. Okay. So if I have the which, it is not a sentence that is completing. Hence, option B makes the most sense because as we said, which is an extra word. Okay. So in this case, the answer is B for Bombay. What happens in critical reasoning is there are 6 types of questions that usually come. What is inferred? What is the underlying assumption? What are the strengths? Or it could be the question could be framed at which of the following strengthens the argument, which of the following weakens the argument. There could be a bold-face in the argument and say what is the relation between the two bold-face, or what is the paradox in the argument basically. So we need to find out what is the assumption in this critical reasoning example that we have. So I'm going to summarize it. The college is reputed because it has got a lot of contributions from alumni who are football fanatics. The team has won many championships over the previous years. However, this year it did not win any title. So there is an assumption that because the word says you can expect to see. So that is indirectly saying there's an assumption that there is going to be a decline in the contributions next year. So the alumni might not be happy with the way the college is performed in the football division. So they may not give some donations. So that is one assumption that because the team has not done well this year, the donation will be less next year. Now we will have to go by process of elimination. So here the question is which is the assumption over here, and here we have can expect to see a decline. So this is again an assumption. Obviously it's not going to be such an easy answer that this will be your answer. We'll have to figure out what is an implied assumption. The way I would continue is I'm looking at option number D for donkey. The team will continue the losing streak next year. Nowhere is it mentioned that the money decides whether the team is winning or losing. The people might donate money to it, but nowhere is it mentioned that from the money you are buying football equipment which is helping the players. Okay, that is not mentioned over here. So we cannot assume that just because you have money you are going to win, or just because you don't have money you are going to lose. So option D can be eliminated. Option number E talks about as a group the alumni will have at least as much money to give next year as this year. So here you are assuming that the alumni has same money this year as they had last year. Now let's say I am donating money to the college. Where is written in the passage how much money I have to donate? I donate depending on what I want to do. The passage doesn't talk anything about whether my business is affected or whether my business is not affected. Or whether I might actually give more money. I might say, you know what, the college is losing, let me give them more money to boost up their morale. That is also possible, right? So you cannot assume that I will have the same amount of money, right? That is an assumption which is not true. So option E is eliminated. Similarly, is option number B says that only because of the money can you have a football winning team. So B and D are talking about the same thing, that without money the football team will lose, or with money the football team will win. So that means B is also eliminated. So that leaves me with two options, that is option number A and option number C. C says the alumni contribution depend on the extent of a winning record by the football team, which is written over here that because they lost, there would be a reduction in the contribution. That means the contributions depend on the winning record. If you lose, you can expect less money, which is making sense. Okay, it is making sense. I'm going to tick right now over here. There are different techniques again for reading comprehension, skimming and scanning, reading the first and the last line of every passage, looking out for indicators or keywords. Trips, techniques, strategies is something that we usually do in the reading comprehension lecture. We have usually two lectures, one on short passages and one on long passages. So there we'll go and do more tricks in detail. Let's do one RC right now. So here is a passage in front of you. Okay, so the question is about Rossetti. So what they are trying to say, the sentence is that when you are retrogressive in a progressive area is a fault, right? So today we are progressive. For example, if you're being retrogressive today, like the Taliban, for example, that women cannot go to school, now you're being retrogressive. That is a fault. What is another fault? Okay, or what this guy, critique Robert. So Robert Buchanan is saying and attacking him by saying that in his work, The Fleshly School of Poetry, Rossetti focused more on being aesthetic and fleshly instead of having moral earnestness. Now, if you see the first line, it says that art and literature were expected to contribute to education. There is another sentence over here which says that PRB had offended the establishment. So that means I'm going to eliminate option number C. Number 2, the clue over here was criticized by reviewers. Now, if I go back over here, it is saying that he was criticized by John Buchanan. So that means Buchanan is critiquing him. It's not many reviewers. His review was critiqued by only one person. That's why I'm going to eliminate option number A. Let's look at other things now. Okay. He violated certain ideals through the portrayals of violence. So here he's talking about that, there was violence, splattered and bloodshed in a vendetta. So in a family fight, there was bloodshed happened, and because of which the frescoes or the art of peace was splattered by blood. Now what is happening over here is they are saying that he has expressed doubts about the art designed to be morally uplifting. When you say morally uplifting means you maybe you see a piece of a painting and it uplifts you. Hey, you know what? I want to become a better person. I want to do something. It uplifts your morale. So that is fine, but nowhere has it said that he is violating some ideals. We do not know what the ideals are, and nowhere has it said that he is violating them, because of which option B is also ruled out. Let's look at D and E. D says he came under attack because he emphasized on form and not substance. So that again the clue is over here. Buchanan attacked him and he was being fleshly and aesthetic instead of being morally earnest, which is making sense, right? He's focusing more on aesthetic beauty rather than moral aspect of it, which means that D is completely making sense, which means option D is the right answer. "31 questions, 62 minutes means 2 minutes per question. You will have an on-screen calculator, which is a regular calculator and not a scientific calculator. You will have a data sufficiency question and problem solving. There are only two types of questions that come. So you can broadly say that 50% of each, right? 31 questions, maybe 15, 16 over here and 15, 16 over there. It's equally split up. Let's try to understand what happens in data sufficiency. Two statements will be given, okay, and you have 5 choices to choose from. Guys, understand, you don't need to solve to get the answer. You need to figure out whether from statement 1 alone can you find the answer, from statement 2 alone can you find the answer, or you can find the answer individually through both the statements alone, or you need both the statements together to find the answer. And option E says that even with A and B both together, we cannot find the answer. Here is the question in front of you. Maybe I'll give you 2-3 minutes to try and solve it. They are saying that 48 have a patio. Means if I write X over here, I write Y over here, I write Z over here, I know that X plus Y is equal to 48. Let's look at option A. Sentence 1 says that 38 have a patio but do not have a swimming pool. That means X is 38, and by using the above data that 48 have a patio over here, I can say that Y is equal to 10. To find how many have a swimming pool, I also need to find the value of Z, which sentence 1 is not able to provide me. Because sentence 1 is not able to provide that to me, I know that 1 on its own, I cannot answer the question using sentence 1. Sentence 2 says the number of houses that have a patio and a swimming pool, that is Y, is equal to the number of houses that have neither a swimming pool nor a patio. So that means there is also a Y component over here. And now what does this mean? This means that X plus Y plus Z plus Y is equal to 75. So X plus Y plus Z plus Y is equal to 75. So I know that X plus Y is equal to 48. What is Z plus Y? 75 minus 48. That means I have found the value of Z plus Y, and Z plus Y is nothing but the people who have swimming pool. That means I can answer this equation by only using statement 2 alone. Hence the answer is B for Bombay. You will have an MCQ where you have to choose 1 out of 5 choices. Okay, I've just written down an explanation on the screen. If we figure out the 3 numbers 1, 2, 3, it can be 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 3, 2, 6, 3, 1, 2, 6. So we just write down all the possibilities with the last digit we can ignore. We know that the last digit can be 6, 7, 8 or 9. And we figure out in what ways can we have the last digit as 6, 7, 8 or 9. And we will get the answer. So maybe we can even put it this way. Now how many ways can we get 6? This is the only way in which we can get 6. In how many ways can we get 7? So we can get a 7 through this. 1, 2 and 4 will give us a 7. This is the only way in which we can get a 7. Okay, now in what ways can we get an 8? This can give me an 8. This can give me an 8. There are 2 ways in which I can get an 8. So I have 7 possible ways. 7 into 6 is 42 ways in which I can play around with the number. Summarize the syllabus. This is the way we at Collegepond break it up. So we have about 12 topics in math, and out of which we have a strategy class and a math workshop. Similarly for verbal, we'll have a verbal class and a verbal workshop. In workshop, what we do is we try to do exam related questions, which is a mixture of all the topics. So this is the way we target coaching at Collegepond. Doubt solving is one-on-one. If you have any doubts with the faculty, set up an appointment. We'll provide you with exams. Periodic assessment is something where you also need to be equally involved. Hey, I'm giving exams. This is where I'm getting. These are the scores I'm getting. Please connect with me. So you will need to be proactive. All the lectures will be live lectures with unlimited grading of AWA essays as well. We'll also provide you topic-wise exams, and we have a very small batch size. We do not take more than 15 to 20 people in a batch for GMAT.